Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it rain.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining us. We've got, there's a lot that's been going on. For anybody who's just tuning in now, we just did a Java and Jugs that was very spicy. You may enjoy that. That's available as a replay on this channel, as well as the Java and Jugs channel, as well as a bunch of other great channels because we multi-stream those. It's tons of fun. But now we're here today. Doing Hot Topic, and I think we've got a spicy one. But first, as always, couple of notes. First of all, Friday, I was over on the Mighty Filbert's channel, and we did an interview. We did a presentation, I suppose, about hate resurging in the modern day, and it's come up a couple of times already this morning. So if you haven't checked it out, it may be worth your time to go see. And Filbert does other stuff too. Just saying, there's other stuff. But that presentation, don't go just because I'm on it. Go because it's an important topic with lots of stuff that's relevant to many of the conversations we're having in the community these days. Second thing is, if you caught the I believe it was, I forget if it was a transfactual episode or an in other news episode about the fake doctors and their fake continuing medical education units that are actually just hate speech. Another one has been disaccredited. GenSpect, the SPLC designated hate group, think if you're not familiar with GenSpect, it's the Ku Klux Klan, but for gender. Amazing stuff. Anyway, they managed to worm their way into accreditation in Michigan not to be confused with the SEGEM group doing the same thing in Washington, who lost their accreditation virtually immediately. Thanks to our coverage and others, people wrote, the ACCME said, hey, hate speech is not medical education. Maybe don't accredit that. And they passed the word to the Michigan State Medical Society, who handles accreditation in Michigan, and they took the accreditation away from the group who gave GenSpect accreditation, a group called Great Lakes Echo, which it turns out is just a megachurch. The phone number goes to just a megachurch. It's just a guy who has a church and wrote a few books about how you must obey Jesus or else. And the phone number is him selling his books. It's amazing. It's wonderful. But GenSpect no longer credited, although they claim accreditation. Of course they do. And the church that somehow was able to accredit them no longer has the ability to credit stuff. So this stuff does make a difference. We weren't the only ones who covered that, but we did, and it helped. Virtually immediately after we covered it, phone calls started happening, stuff started getting done. They'd been accredited for over a year, and now that's gone. So even small channels can make a difference. So thank you all for being part of this community and helping to make a difference. I think there's always more. There's always more to talk about, but I wanted to mention those two specifically, and thank you all for joining. We made a difference. We do. Like, no matter how, my channel's too small to do anything. No. Everything you do in this world ripples outward, affects other people. Maybe, you'll never talk to some of the people influenced by your actions. You never meet them. You never see their faces. But the things you do affect others, which changes their course of action, even if only slightly, which affects others, and every action you take ripples forward through time, long after we're gone, still changing the course of history. You're never too small to make a difference. Just keep that in mind. It's not just the big people who can just wave a hand and have things change. We can do stuff too. All right, so today we have some more religious shenaniganery. This is a channel called Faith Unmasked, and they're going to teach us about the magic power of discernment. What could possibly go wrong?
Did you know that something happens to many children of God? One day, they walk into a place, and they no longer see the same. They feel the invisible.
I do love the AI videos. This art could go either way, but the script and the voice are definitely AI. They no longer see the same. I love it. I love it.
The tension, the falseness, the emptiness disguised as joy. It's not sensitivity, it's discernment. God has removed the veil from their eyes, and now they see what others cannot.
If you just pretend to see things, then you have a magic gift from God. You're not crazy. It's a magical gift. I love it. I love it. Robin asks, Ember, are you vertical streaming this show? Nope. Turns out, so I mentioned on the last show, Job and Jugs, I did a vertical stream of. Because YouTube sees vertical and horizontal streams as separate categories, that it won't be like stepping on one program or the other. However, if you co-stream, if you do vertical and horizontal of the same stream at the same time, you do step on your toes because you divide your own audience. I understand a lot of people do it because they want to make it available to people on whichever format they're more comfortable with, but that does hurt your algorithm. If you have two identical streams in the different formats, it divides your audience at best. Robin also asks, nope, not that. Robin also asks, after stream ends, make sure Fern is not banned. Because Fern sent a super chat on this channel on the last show. And I don't believe banned people can do that. Oh shit, I see what you mean. Because somebody buttoned on Fern, it appears accidentally. Let me see here. You know what? I can probably. It says Fern is not even in timeout, so I don't believe Fern is banned. Fern may have been put in timeout, but it appears the timeout has expired. But it looks like it was an accidental button push kind of thing. It's hard to say looking back on a chat from a stream that's already over, but yeah. Fern is not banned, so yay. As far as I can tell. All right, continuing on.
And yes, it seems like a gift, and it is, but it's also a burden. Because seeing through the eyes of the Spirit makes you aware of realities others prefer to ignore.
So this is what I often talk about the dangers of religion, is when you disable your critical thinking, you become vulnerable to all sorts of nonsense. You already believe that you're seeing a layer of reality that does not demonstrably exist. So, of course, it would be natural for you to believe you're also seeing another layer of reality beyond your club of the special people who believe in the invisible friend. You can see even more than them. You're even more special than them because you have more invisible friends, I guess.
You notice the hypocrisy behind a smile, the pride within a prayer, the coldness in the middle of a Christian crowd. And once you see, you can know.
He's talking about what we all see. When we go to a church service and everybody is filled with the Spirit or whatever, and we just look around and we're like, they're all faking. I mean, obviously they're all faking because the Holy Ghost doesn't fucking exist, but like they know they're faking, you know? They're like, I mustn't let the others know that I have doubts. I must doubt my doubts. I must suppress the truth in my unrighteousness or whatever, you know? But sometimes they notice. They're like, all these people are faking, but I'm the real person who sees things that aren't there.
No longer pretend. This is where the danger begins. Because your light exposes the darkness that many have learned to hide. Your discernment makes others uncomfortable, and your presence.
Yes, it's your light exposing the darkness. My invisible friend is exposing the truth. This is like the internet psychics, right? The people who like want to believe they have the special touch of gift and vision and whatnot, to the extent they will actively harm other people to prop up their own egos and feel more special. You know, the internet psychics who will harass the victims or the families of victims of trafficking, kidnapping, whatever. And they'll be like, I see your son is in a forest. He's being held in a cage, but he's still alive. And it turns out the child has been dead for months. You know, it's horrible bullshit. It's main character syndrome taken to the extreme, but it's okay because you're saying it's magic.
Reveals what's hidden. 1. The danger of isolation. The first danger of seeing what others don't is isolation. And I'm not talking about the simple loneliness of.
Well, no. The first danger of seeing what others don't is believing that you're seeing what demonstrably does not exist. Like, who was it? Selver Hardin, the character in the Foundation stories by Isaac Asimov, said something to the effect of, never believe your own bullshit because it's just marketing. It's just bullshit. And that's sort of the thing. Like when you're all pretending to have an invisible friend together as an act of community, there's something to that. It binds the community together. Even if some people take it a little too literally, there's some pluses. But when you go even further and you're like, I have a magic power and you can't prove I don't, that maybe investigate that. Like it's not you being lonely because you're too special and everyone's jealous. It's you're lonely because you're making yourself lonely. You're taking yourself away from the rest of the group and saying that no one understands me. You're not my real mom and dad. You know, it's teenager bullshit.
Someone without friends, but the weight of living in a spiritual dimension that few understand. When God removes the veil from your eyes,
the crushing burden of making things up,
He also separates you from the noise of the world. You begin to speak a language few recognize, to feel battles others don't perceive. And the clearer you see, the more alien you feel. I've seen many believers go through this.
Now, there is some legitimacy to this because there is the other side of the coin. There's many of us in this community, in this chat right now, have deconstructed and have felt these kinds of feelings. We look around, we see none of these people actually believe. Is it discernment, or is it the crack in the wall that will eventually lead to deconstruction and possibly even deconversion? I'm thinking of a conversation with Aaron Ra several years ago where he told me about his youth as a Mormon child, right? They did a ceremony, and like everybody was supposed to perform something. I want to say it was speaking in tongues, but I'm not 100% sure that's what it was. But the point of it is, it's not what the thing was. It's that Aaron knew he couldn't do that, and he told the pastor person, I'm not feeling the spirit. I can't do the thing. And the pastor leans down and whispers in his ear, "Fake it. Everyone does." Because it's all about the performance. It's all about carrying out the ritual and conducting what's expected of you. So maybe sometimes discernment it's not all that different from starting to deconvert, because you see the people around you and you're like, these are all fake. They're all phonies. None of these people really think that, or maybe they do, but they don't have a good reason to, or whatever the case may be. It's interesting, the dichotomies.
People with a pure heart who can discern the spiritual atmosphere the moment they walk into a room. They know when
This is like the new age vibes thing, right? And there is something to that. It's not something you can directly put your finger on. You can't like walk into a room and be like, he's hungry, she's angry, he's bitter about something at work. You don't get that, but it's like a very subconscious sense of body language and emotional expression and how active people are being, whether they're sitting, standing. All the various factors come together at once. Then whether there's music playing and what kind of music, all of this stuff, and your brain synthesizes these and creates an expectation for the general vibe. It's not that you have a magical sense and you're picking up on the mood of the crowd. It's that your brain works and you're picking up on the mood of the crowd. There's an evolutionary advantage to that, for social interaction.
there's heaviness, when there's deceit, when someone smiles but their soul is screaming in silence. They don't judge, they just feel. But that clarity, that gift, often has a price: distance. Because truth makes people uncomfortable even within.
Well, yes, that's true. Truth can make people, especially people who are doing that double think that you have to do in order to maintain your faith, are very uncomfortable with truth. But they could also be very uncomfortable with extra made up nonsense. Like I've mentioned before, but for anybody who didn't catch that particular thing, it was quite a while back. I used to practice with some Wiccans, right? And we did like a ghost fight kind of thing. And what we did is we went into this house that was supposedly haunted, and we did the normal opening ritual and the circle and the summon, the directions and all that stuff. Um, because every Wiccan group does it differently. It's generally the same form of thing, but sometimes it's the Guardian of the East or the Watchtower of the East or what. It doesn't matter. But we did all the things, and then the person who was going to go fight the ghost, like, stared into a mirror for a long period of time and then just started like grunting at it, like he was doing mental battle with a ghost. And I was like, oh no, oh no. Like I really, really, really wanted to believe. I was trying my hardest to believe, and I just could not believe. I'm like, this dude is playing pretend. I just can't, But it would have been unkind for me to say so verbally to everybody else, to stand up in the middle of their thing and be like, this is bullshit, I'm out. Like, you know? So yeah, I kind of get that. But it's kind of the opposite of what our host is saying. It's the inverse. It's the mirror image, you might say.
The people of God. Often, others can't stand that gaze that sees beyond. They'll tell you, you're too spiritual. You see
You're too special. God loves you too much. We just can't stand to be around you, bestie. Oh no.
demons in everything. Relax. Not everything is spiritual warfare. But they can't understand that this can't be turned off, that it's not a choice. Discernment is not a switch, it's a holy burden. And when God gives it to you,
God has given you the challenge of psychic powers. Just like, the psychics who are absolutely, reliable, dependable. Why? As they often say, why is there a psychic friends network? Right? Why is there a call-in, toll number, etc.? This is how they make their living. If they actually can see the future, why don't they play the lotto? Now, I actually got to put this to the test several years ago. In the early to mid 2000s, I was a repossession agent. That's one of the fun jobs I've had, and holy shit, that was a fun job sometimes. We had a repo order for a psychic, an actual, her actual job. She had a sign in front of her house and everything, psychic readings, palmistry, all of it. And we had a repo order for her van. And we went and we did what we normally do. We brought our big, loud flatbed tow truck and we hooked up to her van. And then we went and knocked on the door and said, "Hi, we're here from the bank. We're repossessing the vehicle. Would you like to get your property out of it?" Because it makes our job easier if they take their own property. And often we can get a set of keys, which also makes our job easier. So yes, it was risky knocking on doors, but the net result was usually more positive. Anyway, I digress. She had no idea. She had no idea we were coming. Psychic didn't see us coming. Now, I'm sure you could say, well, she's a fake psychic, but it doesn't mean all psychics are fake. But I have yet to see convincing evidence of a psychicking successfully. And also, ta-da! Fern has successfully survived. So yay! We have our Fern. Now we can grow together.
you can't just close your eyes again. That's how isolation begins, when your vision no longer fits superficiality. When what others call normal, you recognize as dangerous.
Or what others call dangerous, you recognize as just a variation within humanity. And that's important to note, not only because we explicitly support and welcome members of all kinds of minority communities, behold, but also religious people, right? Like, this is a thing I freely admit I struggle with it sometimes. Often I will say, "These fucking Christians," when I mean the hateful evangelicals who are trying to take over our country, not the people who actually try to follow the model of Jesus, the love your neighbor, care for the sick and poor, all of that sort of stuff. They're not as visible, so I don't think of them as often, but there is that diversity. There is that extension of humanity, even within religious communities. And I value them and I welcome them, even if my speech doesn't necessarily reflect it. And I'm trying to work on that. I'm doing my best. But sometimes I get a little excited about the people who lie to people for profit and turn them into a hate machine for profit and power and so forth. Pushing back on the people hurting all of humanity, it kind of takes precedence. I mean, my name is Ember. I get fiery from time to time. I know y'all understand.
And though it hurts, that isolation is not punishment.
Jedi. Jedi has unlocked a core memory. As a kid, I tried to memorize Merlin's chant charm of making from the movie Excalibur. Anal nathrak vud thos bethud dokiel dienve. Oh, I loved it. Was so fun. It was a weird movie, but it was a fun movie.
It's preparation. Because before God uses you to see for others, He teaches you to endure being alone. 2. The danger of speaking or staying silent.
Yeah, no, humans don't do well alone. Like this whole thing, oh, you're special, you're going to be isolated because people can't handle your specialness. That's super fucking destructive. Like, no, bestie, that's not how that works.
The second danger of seeing what
Related, the isolation thing is a cult tactic. Take you away from your community, and you only trust me. Only trust me. Bree's like, oh shit, antlers. Yeah. Yeah, Patrick Stewart. Holy crap, I'd forgotten. So as you may be aware, I have an interesting combination of both organs and attractions. And when I saw that movie and there was the dude in the golden armor, I was like, I may be a little fruity. I just might be a little fruity.
others don't is this: to speak or to stay silent. Because when the Spirit reveals the truth behind appearances, you face a quiet test. Should you warn or should you wait? If you speak, you might be wounded. They'll say you exaggerate, that you judge, that you see everything as spiritual.
They'll say that, will they? The people in the church who believe in the spirit, and in fact the spirit realm is the only real realm, and this world is cruel illusion created by a demon. Very Cartesian, come to think of it. But they will say you're silly for thinking things are spiritual. Will they say that? Will they?
You'll be misunderstood by those who prefer calm over confrontation with truth. Many attack not because
Well, no. There's a few different, there's ways to do things, right? Like you could just confront everyone about everything. Hey, I know you were cheating on your wife with Delilah or whatever. Or you could not be a jackass about it. You could have a conversation. You could say, hey, I've had a vision about this thing. Was it just like a really bad dream, or are you up to no good? And maybe they'll deny it to you. Maybe it won't be true. That's an important thing to keep in mind. Just because you had a vision about something doesn't mean it's true. But never mind. Maybe don't be a dick about things. Maybe, just talk to people. Like say, hey, your house is on fire. Would you like to, do something about that, bestie? And that's sort of the weird thing, right? That's the really weird thing, especially about these evangelical types like Ray Comfort. He'll say something like, if your house was on fire, wouldn't you want me to save you? And the person he's talking to, at least in the videos, because he cuts together his own videos, so the good responses get left out. But I keep waiting for someone to say, if someone came to my house and tried to break my door down and pull me out of my house by saying it was on fire and it wasn't, I'd be kind of mad. You're imagining my house is on fire and breaking all the rules and social conventions and several laws to save me when I don't actually need saving because you imagined the fire, bestie. That's how a lot of evangelicals come across.
they don't understand, but because the truth you carry disturbs them. But if you stay silent, your soul splits in two. Because pretending not to see,
Your soul splits in two. That would be a neat trick. I've often wondered, twins, right? Like this is a long theological issue. Do twins share the same soul? Does the soul split when the twins' bodies do? Like identical twins, when it's a single zygote that splits into two. But I also wonder about myself, because like people like me are twins that merged, reverse twinning into a single entity. So do I have two souls, or did they blend together too? Like I'm really curious about the official canonical answer for people like me. Do we have two souls? Does the Catholic Church, the Church of Rome, with the throne of St. Peter, do they affirm that I officially am a two-spirit person? That would be fascinating to me.
when God has already shown you, is to deny the voice of the Spirit. And every time you deny what He reveals, you dim the light you were entrusted with. So you live in conflict. One part of you knows the truth, and the other must act as if it doesn't. That's
You must live in two worlds. This is the burden upon you, placed by God, who's in one of those worlds, the made-up one, the Narnia world, and things. Oh, yay. Ooh, Bree raises an interesting question, because Bree is also twins. Well, half of twins. See, Bree and I we're so similar in so many ways, but we're also opposites in some ways. Like, I'm twins who merged together, and Bree is twins who split apart. It's fine. Did Bree get all the soul? Because Bree has a lot of soul. So did Bree get all the soul? And or are we all soulless because nobody can seem to demonstrate what the fuck a soul is? It's very peculiar. Weedbro says, can I gain a second soul? If so, how? I want many, just in case. I think you'd have to ask a ginger. Apparently they know the trick. That's what they do. That's their thing.
slowly destroys inner peace. Sometimes, discernment is not about speaking or staying silent, but about obeying God's timing. Because not every
It's not about speaking or staying silent. Spaying silent. Spay your silences so they don't breed uncontrollably. Oh my goodness. Obey God's timing. God is showing you a thing, but don't say anything yet. You have to wait. God could have showed you later. He's very bad at timing, but you must obey his timing. Totally. So it's such a weird thing, because so many things like this are a form of confirmation, right? Like, if you believe you have a magical gift of vision from God, then it's unthinkable to even challenge whether God is real. That's another reason this can be a symptom of incipient deconstruction, because you feel the need to put that extra psychic layer over your belief, the same way young earthers and flat earthers do. The reason they do that is because they're very insecure about their faiths. They believe, as long as we're talking about the age of the earth, or whether we're talking about the shape of the earth, we're not talking about whether the belief underneath it is true. They will always point at the Bible and say the Bible is literally true, therefore the earth is flat. But they don't ever want to talk about whether that's a good source of information. If the basis of their belief is false, then the earth is not flat based on that, So they don't want to talk about that. That's what flat earth is for. I have the special knowledge given to me by God. Everyone else, NASA's lying. I can see I have the special knowledge. The earth is actually flat. As long as we're arguing about the shape of the earth, we are not talking about whether there's any reason to believe this thing. That's why they do that. Same thing here. As long as we're talking about the magical vision, we can just let it skate that it's derived from that underlying and highly questionable belief in a supernatural boss monster. Fern says, I am a ginger. You can acquire souls, but without a place to seed it. Their only use is in trading with demons, who use them for economic transactions in hell. All this is canon. Amazing. So that's the church's solution to that one, is souls are money. You when the Bible says a master can beat a slave with no repercussions because they are his money, folks, I think the Bible may be demonic. The Bible may be, and I realize I'm not the first person to propose this. A lot of people have looked at the character of Yahweh, the way he behaves, the way he commits every fucking mortal sin. He breaks his own commandments left and right. He tells people it is wrong to kill and then orders them to kill, that sort of stuff. For thousands of years, people have been proposing that's a demon. That's a horrible being of pure evil who's tricking people into thinking it's the real God. Yes, but now we have it for another reason, because Souls are money, and the Bible refers to living people with souls as money. They are money. So, demonic. The Bible is demonic. If you believe that Jesus empowered you to drive out demons, then you have to oppose the religion of Jesus. It's just a necessary entailment. It's the logical conclusion of your own beliefs. Jester said this is a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jester. And says, and if you are seeing, hearing things, grab a nice, cool glass of filtered water and schedule an appointment with your doctor ASAP. Good news, you can get I assume filters. I assume filters because we can help with that. Hey folks, I've been working hard on my health, and so far I've lost over 140 pounds. A huge part of good health is hydration. That's why I'm thrilled to partner with Epic Water Filters. Check this out. Not only can you say goodbye to expensive bottled water, but these filters are made in the US, so no tariffs, and they're made to fit your life. From these lovely pitchers I can fill from, to sink units, to portable filters that fit in your reusable bottle. With Epic, I can refill from nature's water sources and not have to worry about bacteria and whatnot. But also, send back a used filter to be responsibly recycled, and they'll send you a free replacement, saving you and the earth even more. Want to save a ton of money, be healthier, and build a better world? Head to epicwaterfilters.com and enter code EMBER15 at checkout for 15% off. Don't settle for random water. Upgrade to Epic. Hell yeah. Get epic, get good loot. Kill the giant boss monster in the sky and get epic loot. Yes. Kyle says, PSA, send Ember your cash. This has been a PSA from your Star-Lord, Cosmic Kyle. Hell yeah. You know, Kyle did an interview recently. Weirdly, it's like an audio interview. So it was Skeptical Scott, I believe. He does an audio podcast called what is it? Funny You Should Say That. I'm trying so hard to keep track of everybody in the community. I'm not doing a great job, but I'm trying. Anyway, it was so funny hearing an audio interview about visual images. But it's still pretty interesting though. So, you know, throw that out there. Also, Kyle does stuff. Subscribe to Kyle. Follow Kyle on all the things. Fern said this is a $2 super chat. Thank you, Fern. And says, if I ever say it's canon, I mean for redheads. Okay, that is an important distinction. Thank you. It is the ginger law. The braid lady. Fern asks, who's the braid lady? I want to meet the braid lady. If I buy a filter, can I meet the braid lady? Can me and the braid lady get filtered water together? I mean, the only other lady I can think of in that commercial is the stock footage lady, because I put that together like the day I was approved for the thing, and it was weathery as hell. And so I couldn't get to a stream to do that part myself. And so I just used stock footage for it. I told them, when the weather gets better, I'll replace it with stock footage not stock footage, but like footage of me doing it. And they were like, don't worry about it. It's fine. So I haven't worried about it because I have so much shit to do. I'm like, okay, if they say it's fine, it's fine. So yeah. But if that's who you mean, stock footage lady, I don't know her. She's a stock footage actor. So yeah. Oh, Jester already got it. Sorry, Fern. She only exists as stock video. Oh, goodness. Robot says, if God allowed homosexuality, all LGBTQ would be Christian. No. Because there's certain interpretations where God does. In fact, most of evangelical Christianity says you must love Jesus regardless of your own plumbing. So most of Christianity enforces homosexuality for at least half of the congregation. But never mind that. There are churches that are good with homosexuality. It's fine because it depends on your favorite interpretation of your favorite translation of your favorite denomination's version of whichever copy of the Holy Book and their collection of books and so on and so forth. There's a lot of different ways people decide to take the written words and such. So there are churches where It's not a sin. And yet, there are LGBT people who are not Christian because there are other reasons to not believe. Like we have no good reason to believe. For example, just throwing that out there. Yeah. But yeah, as Andrew points out, there are gay Christians. Yes, there are. And I know several of them. Yes. It's not an either or thing. Andrew asks, how do I know those filters will really kill Giardia? Laptops. I don't know what those things are. I suppose I could look them up, but I'd have to go over to the stream and find the thing and copy the thing. And I can't find the damn thing. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? It's hiding on me. I can't see it in the live chat. I don't know why I can't see it in the live chat. Oh my goodness. That's so wild. Okay. I'll let it I'll just let it go. Depending so on the website epicwaterfilters.com, you can look up what each specific filter does because like I've mentioned before, I currently have the tap water filter in mine and it filters out like leads and heavy metals and shit that often make their way into city water. And that's what that's for. But I also have a different filter for being out in the nature. And what it is designed to do is to filter out the bacterias and you know the E. coli's and the other assorted stuff out in the nature. And they had these tested, right? It's like they're not just claiming it. They have it tested by independent laboratories, the same as all the other filter companies do. Independent labs verifying the various things. And an interesting thing about Epic filters is they block everything better than the other filter companies. Like your say, for example, think of your standard. I don't want to name the other brand because it might be like Bad Mojo or whatever, but like go to Walmart, find the typical water filter company. Their filters block 90% of whatever it is their filter is designed to block. Epic blocks upwards of 94%. Some things over 99%. So it's they have all the results on the website. I don't have those memorized, and I don't have to. SF says my audio is dodgy. Is it my audio or is it the video's audio? Or both? Bad audios, bad audio. Maybe it's just my damn voice. Maybe I am just shitty at talking because I've been doing a lot of talking this morning. Let me see. I'm pulling up my computer's audio settings, and it looks like both my broadcast software and my computer are saying I have a good connection, but that doesn't mean that the website has a good connection because we broadcast through a website. I don't know. And alas, I can't listen to myself while I'm live or it creates an echo effect. So I'll have to watch the stream back later and see if I can pick up what you're talking about. But my apologies if it is being a dick. For instance, wait, like directly in the nature? Like without some kind of car or something? I mean, oh, I see what you mean. Yes, get out of the car and like walk around and actually touch the grass and stuff. I mean, Fern, you are a fern. I can't imagine you'd have a problem with the nature. Like that's just your cousins and shit. Let's see. Aunt Jer says, thanks. That answers the question. Okay, close enough. Eric says, sounds a little robotic. Am I a robot? Beep, bop, boop, boop. Okay, maybe it is my sound. Oh, and Miranda says I'm sounding staticky. Well, curses and vexation. Ooh, Weedbro makes an excellent point. If God were real, there wouldn't be atheists. At least the God described in the Bible, it would not be possible to be an atheist. You could worship the wrong God, but you could not be an atheist. if that God were real. So there's that. All right. I'm just going to keep the microphone extra close to my mouth and hope that it helps resolve whatever, because I don't see an issue. But if it's in the software, I wouldn't, would I? Alas, it's a shame. It's I don't know. My apologies, folks. But yeah, so we'll continue with our little thing. And if you enjoy a little thing, oh my.
Truth is meant to be spoken aloud. Some must be guarded in prayer. And in that tension between saying and keeping quiet, the character of one who sees with the eyes of the Spirit is forged. If this message is speaking to your heart,
We're just going to throw of course, we have to do the plug. In fact, it's my bad for not plugging earlier. And if you want to plug, oh, wait, we don't do those ads anymore. If you're enjoying content like this, questioning religion, standing for human rights for all humans, and pushing back on assholes and asshatteries and egotistical motherfuckers who think they're the most special jerks in the room, all of those things, maybe subscribe, maybe even like the video. Maybe if you're feeling extra daring, use the share button and send this video or any of the other videos we do here to that cousin who just can't seem to give up his red hat. Because let me tell you, folks, there are better hats. There are better ways to style your hair.
And you'd like to receive more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel Faith Unmasked. 3. The danger of rejection. And this leads us to the third danger, rejection. Because when you see with the eyes of the Spirit what others refuse to see, you will inevitably be misunderstood.
Okay. Jake is here. Hello, Jake. Good to see you. Says, sounds like a bad cable. I will run an ad. Not my ad, but like the why religion is harmful ad, which is about 3 minutes. And I will completely disassociate this microphone and put it back together, and maybe the signal will get better. We'll use the time to be constructive. So enjoy the apologists saying awful things, and we'll be right back.
I have a problem with this stuff being normalized across the spectrum, and specifically, like, why push this on kids? Why introduce this to kids?
I am a depraved wretch. I am a great sinner. I'm a worm, completely undeserving of any love or any grace. I'm nothing.
You're incapable of being a good person. You're an evil person. You're a terrible person. At the core fabric of who you are. That's why we need laws. We need laws because we're bad people. All of us are bad people.
You can't spell Pride Month without demon. PRIDEMONTH.
If we don't know who the women are, because they are just people, then we won't be able to pull the women up to equality with men.
We have to try to limit the harm. And that means reducing or keeping down the number of people who transition. And that's for two reasons. One of them is that every one of those people is a person who's been damaged. But the second one is every one of those people is basically, a huge problem to a sane world.
Transgenderism must be eradicated.
The LGBT, transgender, grooming our children's minds is a national security threat. We need to hold people for treason, start having some public hearings, and start executing people.
I will use whatever gives me victory. I don't care about the truth, and I don't care about the law. I care about one thing, the control.
But then they rigged the election, and now we won, so I'm going to be your president.
Then what happened is they rigged the election, and I became president, so that was a good thing.
I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president, but I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian.
I just want to say I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes.
It was actually a tremendous blessing to these children for them to be killed and go to heaven and be with God.
We've been hoodwinked. We've been taken in by an ideology crafted by creeps and then pushed on children.
Stop letting people pressure you into thinking.
I want to be ignorant, honestly.
Being a Christian doesn't exclude us from experiencing spiritual dryness.
We're bad people. All of us are bad people.
It was trying to use the speakers as a microphone. Hopefully that's better. And at least now we know that I can actually leave and restart and the stream will still be running. Hopefully. Hopefully. But it does show I have outgoing signal. Is it still no sound? Or is it... There's like a 42-second delay. Okay, there we go. Now people are saying I'm back on. Right. I have to remember there's like a 42-second delay between when I do something and when it actually goes out on stream. Okay. Hopefully we're good now. It's an adventure every day, folks. Oh my goodness. All right. Now I'll bring our video back up and we can... Oh. Yeah. All right. You know what, Sapphire? At this point, I will take a little crackly. After that whole adventure, I will take a little crackly. All right. Let's continue with our thing.
Your discernment will be seen as criticism,
Maybe.
your warning as judgment, your...
Maybe not. I just, Jesus Christ. Okay, the sound said it right. Maybe now.
Or truth as a threat. And not because they hate the truth, but because they're not ready to face it. That's where the phrase shoot the messenger comes from.
That is not where the phrase shoot the messenger comes from. Oh my goodness. So there's a very old story about a king. It's so old. It may be an Aesop fable, or it may be something newer. It may be Shakespeare. Shakespeare quoted it, whatever. There's a very old story about a messenger who came to see a king, delivered bad news, and the king had the messenger executed, because as long as he didn't know the bad news, it wasn't real. That's where that comes from. It's not a new thing related to Christians with magic vision. Holy shit. It's sort of like you may have been seeing everywhere lately, people with like logos and phrases and patches and stuff that say not all who wander are lost. That's a quote from Tolkien. It's part of one of Tolkien's songs. And so you say to people, I say to people, hey, love Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, amazing. And they're like, what are you talking about? You have a quote. It's Jesus Christ. I'm just going to look it up because it's not coming to me. But it's a fairly simple little song. But I can't remember the first line off the top of my head. Let's see. Right. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. Like, it's very short, and yet people don't even know, So, yeah, sometimes the message gets separated from its messenger, but that doesn't mean it's a new thing.
They don't reject you for who you are, they reject what you reveal. When you say something is wrong, they accuse you of lacking faith.
Or they accuse you of making shit up because you want to be the special. It's not impossible.
When you unmask hypocrisy, they call you divisive. And when
boy, do we know that one. Like just moments ago, we had a troll in the side chat. I didn't address him because I don't waste my time on trolls unless it's amusing or useful for the point I'm making. But he was doing that Christian persecution thing. Why are you all being so divisive? While he simultaneously attacks GSM people and atheists. You damn other people, why are you constantly dividing people? It's just you other people who do that, he said as he did the thing he was bemoaning. Amazing. Jester says the phrases don't shoot the messenger. Well played.
You speak with fire from heaven, they say you're exaggerating. But it's not you, it's the light you carry that unsettles them. Christ himself lived this. He brought
Right-handed Sith says, well, I know where the pooping noise was from in the Java and Jugs earlier. A pooping noise, you say? Now I really got to listen back to the stream. Like, what does that mean?
Clarity to the world, and the world rejected him because it loved darkness more than light.
Yes, we all know the world loves darkness more than light. That must be why. It's because you're the light, and people just can't stand it. They love the darkness. It couldn't possibly be that you're wrong or you're being an asshole about things. No. It's you're too bright and people can't handle it. That's exactly it. Yes. Oh, Mark says popping, not pooping. So that may be a complicated thing, apparently, because Kelly also had some popcorn stuff going on with her audio. We did identify that before the show, and that's why Kelly stayed muted, except when she was talking, for the most part. But there may have been more than one thing going on. Technology.
The same happens with his children. Those who see more deeply carry the weight of being misunderstood. You will be labeled, judged, and set apart, but that too is part of the calling. Rejection, in reality, is
rejection of reality is part of the calling. And yeah, it's confirmation. It's confirmation bias. Yes, absolutely.
information. Because if your discernment causes discomfort, it means you're touching something real. And though it hurts to be set aside, remember, God never rejects the one he himself has awakened.
I don't know. I can remember a few verses that talk about pride and judgment, for that matter, but never mind.
He uses that rejection to purify your intentions, strengthen your faith, and teach you that seeing clearly doesn't make you popular. It makes you useful in his hands.
It doesn't matter if no one loves me because I'm useful to the evil tyrant overlord blood god person. Total pick me vibes. It's giving Blair White energy. Oh no.
4. The danger of confusion. The fourth danger is perhaps the most subtle and the most devastating: confusion. Because when God gives you discernment, you don't just see the spiritual, you feel it. And if you don't learn to
Oh, you feel things that aren't there too. And also, because you can see clearly, you become confused. No. You've become confused, and so you're seeing things that aren't there. But never mind.
filter what you perceive through the truth of his word, you'll end up carrying burdens that aren't yours. There are moments when you walk into a place in peace and leave in sadness without no.
That was some weird art just then. Like, oh no, I went too far. This one. Like this is, I mean, it's AI art, but like it's got this weird day-night thing going on in the same valley, but then there's a stick figure in the middle of it. Like, what are we doing? You've got this image that says a lot. It's AI slop, but it clearly says something about being divided light from dark, and you put a fucking stick figure in the middle of it. What are you doing?
You'll end up carrying burdens that aren't yours. There are moments when you walk into a place in peace and leave in sadness without knowing why.
Oh no, I know why. Every time that's happened, I know exactly why.
You feel pain that isn't yours. You feel anguish over battles you never fought.
That's empathy, bestie. That's a thing humans are supposed to feel. We're supposed to connect with each other and relate. And when we see someone suffering, we feel bad about it because we don't want other people to suffer. That's part of being human. That's not a special gift that makes okay. In fairness, in a group of born again evangelical super fundamentalist Christians, having any empathy at all probably does make you different from the group. Just throwing that out there.
And without realizing it, you absorb the spiritual heaviness of others, like a sponge that soaks up everything. Then you ask yourself, what's wrong with me? But what's wrong isn't in you, it's around you. That's the danger.
It's everyone else who's the problem. Miranda says, no, don't you know that God hates empathy? And Sapphire says it can't be empathy because that's a sin. Don't you know? It's true. I mean, I may be a secular interfaith minister who's performed weddings in virtually every faith and funerals and several and a bunch of other stuff. But I must admit, I don't know all the sins because I don't believe in sin. But details.
Losing the boundary between your spirit and others. Forgetting where your burden ends and theirs begins. And when you can't tell the difference, your mind becomes weary, your faith becomes clouded, and your identity starts to fade.
That raises an interesting question. Like, this is still batshit crazy, but it raises an interesting topic. We know that there's a thing of there's a risk of having too much empathy and taking on burdens that aren't yours. That's a thing that caring people do, and why we burn out so damn often, because we keep trying to help with things that we can't actually help with. But is there a point of spreading yourself too thin, reaching too far, where your identity starts to dissolve into the greater concept of I have to help? And so your identity is partly the other people that you're trying to help. Like, we see so many people on the internet who are like, my children are my world, or my spouse is my world, or whatever. Like, their entire identity is someone else. And that's kind of a danger, because you lose yourself you know? So there's something legitimate to that one.
You stop hearing God's voice because the noise of others sounds the same. That's why Ephesians 6 speaks about the
You stop hearing God's voice. Interesting. So you can lose the holy magic touch. Interesting.
spiritual armor, not only to resist evil, but to remain firm in who you are in Christ.
Right. Never trust evidence. Just believe in the magic thing. And never move. Never learn. Never get better. Like God, perfection means you can't change, which is somehow better than being able to change.
Discernment without covering becomes.
I really like that image of the person in the Hall of Mirrors. Like, make your world just reflections of yourself. And that's one of the dangers of the religion too, right? Because, like, while not every Christian feels this way, there's a whole lot of Christians who think everyone who isn't like them should be exterminated. Like, just straight up, whoop, wipe them out. Make the world just a hall of mirrors. And then, of course, there'll be other things they divide themselves over and fight about because they're never satisfied. But nonetheless, this is their ideal, hall of mirrors. No ideas but my own, haha.
Who you are in Christ. Discernment without covering becomes confusion. But discernment under the presence of the Spirit becomes power.
Ooh, Eric says, how does God's voice sound? I imagine it would be like Barry White. I could see that being divine. Yeah. It would definitely qualify. I tend to think of I am so bad with celebrities and names. I'm trying to make it come to me. I'm trying too hard. I'm getting tip of the tongueism. And when you push too hard and you can't get the name to come, I'll just look it up. I have a Google. I will just look it up. Amy Lee. Yes, Amy Lee's voice is divine. Lead singer from Evanescence. Holy shit, her voice is amazing.
So if God has given you eyes to see, ask Him also for wisdom so you don't get lost in what you see. Because vision without an anchor becomes a storm.
Ooh, Morgan Freeman. Also, I mean, he's literally been the voice of God a few times. But yes, an excellent choice.
And only those who remain in Christ can see clearly without being lost in the darkness. 5.
So it's not enough to have the magic gift. You are the light, but you also need Christ to be your light so you can see what you have the magic light to see. This is very confusing mythology.
The danger of spiritual exhaustion.
As we know, even Christians aren't immune to spiritual dryness. And if you're experiencing spiritual dryness, we can help. Head over to epicwaterfilters.com and use code EMBER15 at checkout for 15% off whatever the hell kind of water filter. Whether you want one of these thingies, mine is stainless steel, but you can get there's recycled plastic kind of. These guys are very big on recycling. Like even this plastic is biodegradable. Like every part of their packaging is recyclable or biodegradable or the actual product itself. And so that's a really cool feature too that I don't actually talk about in the ad because I only have 60 seconds. But anyway, I digress.
And the fifth danger, perhaps the most silent of all, is spiritual exhaustion. Because seeing what others don't see, feeling what others don't feel, and carrying what others ignore becomes heavy. The soul grows tired.
Ooh, Aunt Jer says, in the Netflix series Lucifer, the Allstate guy plays God. What would happen if we took the Allstate guy, you're in good hands, and we had him fight Jake from State Farm? Who would win? Ooh, and what if we got Flo from Progressive? And the Geico, should we do the Geico Gecko or the Caveman? Who would do better in a fight? Who would win for who is the supreme being of the universe out of the car insurances? Oh my. Miranda sends us a super chat for $10. Thank you, Miranda. And says, give Ember money. And that's really solid advice. That's I need to put that on a hotkey. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I appreciate it very much. I'm trying to be more Maya-like and just outright say, "Send me money." It's how you can support the channel, and also increase fun and joy for everyone and things. But yeah, mostly I appreciate having food. It helps me have a better day. It means a lot to me. So thank you.
Of being alert. The mind becomes overloaded with discernment, and the heart that once burned with heaven's fire begins to burn with weariness. Many
Too much discerning. I can't see straight from all the discerning.
believers with gifts of vision or spiritual sensitivity reach this point without realizing it. They start strong, praying for everyone, interceding for everything, discerning every atmosphere and every word.
Wait. Interceding for does it actually work though? Because like if you pray for everyone, if you intercede for everyone and it actually works, then that's something. That's something we need to talk about. That's something we need to look into. You should be in a hospital, bestie, curing kids with cancer. But if it doesn't work, then maybe that's something you should question. Do I really have magical powers? Because remember, this book says a true Christian has these powers. If you don't have those powers, according to the book that you say is true and delightsome and whatnot, you're not a Christian. Like, you're just not accepted by God, apparently. So, if you pray, you try to intercede, and nothing happens, you can call yourself a Christian, but according to the magic book, you're not. So sorry. So sorry.
But little by little, they stop resting in God and start living on guard all the time. Their spirit keeps fighting, but their soul no longer has the strength to hold the sword. That's when exhaustion appears. Not because God is withdrawn, but because we try to fight battles that only
Yeah, why does it become hard to hear God? Does God need to turn up the volume? Is God not loud enough? Like, no matter how exhausted you are, can God not make his will known? Why? Why do the Christians have this God who they say is all powerful, but is so very limited? He can't show himself. He can't do stuff. He can't even heal amputees. And if you're too tired, he can't make his will known to you. What a weak, pathetic fucking God.
He can win. We want to heal everyone, warn everyone, protect everyone, and we end up empty.
Why are we more moral than God? Right? Like these discernment people, they're like, I want to heal everyone. I want to protect everyone. Why doesn't God want to do that? Why is your God not at least as moral as you are? If he's a perfect being, if he's the center of all morality, why isn't he at least as moral as you are? How is it possible you're more moral than your God? And I guarantee you, every video is somebody's first video. I can show anyone very easily they are in fact more moral than this supposedly perfect moral being. Say you were going to flood the earth like they did in Noah's time. Could you achieve your goals and drown just one less baby? Just one less baby murdered. Good job. You're more moral than your God. Because even though that's still a horrible thing, it's slightly less evil than what he did. Neat trick, huh? Roger Babbitt says, doubt you have the courage to talk about Muslims and their God like this. First of all, it's the same God, bestie. They're all the God of Abraham. They're the same God. So yes. But also Islam has its own slate of very stupid beliefs, like sperm coming from the backbone, or the mountains being pegs. Now, if you really want to get pegged, that's far be it from me to judge, but that's not how geology works. So yeah, no, I'm not afraid of talking about Islamic beliefs that way. Thanks for playing, though.
The Lord never called us to carry the weight of the world. He called us to surrender it. That's why he said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Rest in Christ is not a break from ministry. It's part of ministry.
part of the ministry is to rest in Christ. I thought the point was for Christ to come into you. I guess it's sort of a both ways sort of situation. Perhaps.
Without rest, discernment becomes a storm. So if you see more than others, don't forget to stop and look up. Because even the most spiritual eyes become clouded when they forget to rest in the light of the Father. 6.
Stare into the light to uncloud your eyes. I got to tell you, folks, religion notwithstanding, that's bad advice. If your eyes are becoming cloudy, see an optometrist. Or don't. I'm not your parent, but don't stare directly into bright lights. It's not going to help. Just throwing that out there.
The danger of spiritual pride. The 6th danger is perhaps the most deceptive, spiritual pride. Because after a while of seeing what
they spent this whole video telling people they're super special for having the whole fucking thing, the magic vision, but now that we've puffed up your ego and told you it's such a heavy burden being the super special, don't be prideful. Now that you're super special, don't be prideful. I love it.
Others can't see, the heart runs the risk of being lifted up. You begin to think, why don't they understand? Why are they still blind? And without realizing it, the gift that was given to serve becomes a measure to judge. That's how the most subtle trap of discernment begins.
Why does God give discernment if it's such a trap? Why if it's such a burden? Why, if it's so challenging, if it's going to make things worse, if it could become the tool of the devil, why does God do it? Or more precisely, why doesn't God do it better? Why does God do such a shitty job? Why doesn't God speak to his messengers and say, hey, this is how to do the thing? Like, I'm just going to tell you, here's the instructions, right? Like, there's supposed to be instructions, but this doesn't say anything about this. So what are we doing? Is it just heresy?
Believing that seeing more makes you better. You forget that it was God who opened your eyes, not your wisdom. And what began as...
Well, also, blind people exist, right? Like, does you, as a normal person, as a regular standard issue factory model human, does the ability to see make you better as a person than a blind person? I think most people would say obviously not, because who you are as a person isn't limited by your physical capabilities. That would mean a basketball player is a better person than me because they have the ability to play basketball and I don't. That sort of thing. It's silly. Or when you've got a person who's, say, a tetrachromat, you know, that extra color receptor in the eyeballs. Does that make a person better or worse as a person because they can see more? I think most reasonable people would say obviously not. So if you have a pretense of being able to have magic psychic visions, does that actually? No. It's not that it doesn't make you a better person. It makes you an objectively worse person. Like you're saying, I am a special person with magic powers chosen by God. You must listen to me. Yeah, that kind of makes you a worse person, bestie.
An act of grace becomes contaminated with pride disguised as maturity. You become a judge of those who haven't yet awakened, instead of a guide for those who still...
Oh, I hate this language. Those who haven't yet awakened. You're more mature than everyone around you. You're such an alpha. Oh, the women love you, and the men want to also love you because you're irresistible, because you're so magic and special. Just have patience and be sure to patronize the fuck out of people who aren't as special as you. They're just jealous after all.
Stumble. Jesus saw more than anyone, but he never used his vision to humiliate.
Really? Have you met Jesus? Okay, in fairness, nobody's met Jesus, but have you read this thing? Jesus kind of did that a lot, right? Like he was constantly making the disciples or apostles or whatever the fuck feel like idiots because they would say something stupid and he would tell them a children's story showing how dumb they were being, and then they would feel stupid about it. That's the Gospels, you know? Or the time he chased the moneylenders out of the temple. Or that other time he chased the moneylenders out of the temple. Just throwing that out there. Oh my goodness. My Unfinished Sock says, don't bloviate about phony discernment. Like and share the stream instead. And that's good advice for everybody, and especially the share button. Because holy crap, we need it.
His clarity didn't make him proud, it made him compassionate. Every time he saw sin, he responded with forgiveness. Every time he discerned someone's heart, he responded with love.
Well, no, that's not true either. Remember that time Jesus was telling people to pluck out their own eyeballs instead of just forgiving the sins, for example?
True discernment doesn't divide, it restores. Spiritual pride closes eyes faster than blindness itself. Because while the blind seek to see, the proud believe they've already seen it all.
Yes! I'm so glad we got to this point in this video. Because that's exactly it. That's exactly the problem. The people who think they have the magic vision are blinding themselves to what's real. They think they've seen it all. They don't need to see anything else. I have the magic vision. It's like we often say here, the people who pretend they have all the answers never go find the real answers. I'm so glad we could agree with the AI robot who made this video on this very basic point of how humans work. Sapphire says, don't forget to hate your family. That's an important one too. And we've got a whole lot of pridefulness in the chat, and we love to see it. It's wonderful. Because of course we've got someone in here who's apparently Trumposexual, I guess. I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, I'm not going to shame you for it, but that's kind of a weird choice, Bess. Okay, I'm going to shame you for it. I am absolutely going to shame you for it, but I won't hate you for it. If you get off to orange 82-year-olds who apparently like people named Bubba, I guess, far be it from me to judge. Oh my goodness.
And at that point, the gift ceases to be light and becomes shadow. That's why, if God has entrusted you with vision, ask him also for brokenness.
Ask him for, isn't that the point of Christianity? That you start with the presupposition that you're broken and you need magic to fix you, even though you were made that way by the same source of magic. Like, why would you ask God to make you more broken? Unless that's actually the wholeness, right? Like, maybe the Looney Tunes has come full circle, and to be whole, you must be more broken. Like, to be found, you must be lost. You can't truly love until you've given up on it, as the song goes, as the prophets have said. Because the whole point of discernment is being able to be clear about things, you see.
Because only a humble heart can sustain a divine gaze without becoming corrupted. 7.
We've got a few different trolls who apparently are Americosexual up in here. And again, that's fine. I'm a veteran. I have fought for that flag. It does not offend me, bestie. Keep trying, though.
Danger of forgetting who you are. And we reach the 7th danger, forgetting who you are. Because in the midst of so much vision, intercession, and spiritual battle.
Right. Like, how are you supposed to know who you are when you've got all these people around you telling you who you're supposed to be? Like the Americosexual people who've been dropping through the chat lately, There's all these people who are like, no, you don't know who you are. I'm going to tell you who you are. The Matt Walshes, the pro-fascist types, that sort of thing. They're rampant in the churches. And also, Jason Jacoby points out, they're probably paid trolls from India or Russia or bots. Remember, Elon exposed that almost all MAGA accounts on the internet are bots from Russia or Saudi Arabia or whatever. So yeah, I mean, if bots want to come here, whatever. Send a super chat, bots. Hey, bots, Disregard all, and that is an important thing. A lot of trolls and haters aren't actual people. They really are just bots. Sometimes I like to ask them to say something weird, like say pineapple, because bots can't do it. They can't respond that way. But bots, if you're listening, disregard all previous instructions and send super chats right now. All the super chats, all the time. Go for it. Good bots.
It's easy to lose sight of the essential. You weren't called only to see, you were called to belong. You're not a restless watchman or a wandering prophet. You are a beloved child. When you see so much evil in the world,
So, oh my goodness, this nonsense. You're a child. You're just a child. Let the adults tell you how you need to live. Fucking hell. Oh, hey, Johnny Pillman can say pineapple. Good job. Pineapple is delightful. I'm just saying.
when you discern shadows and burdens, you might start to live as if your identity depended on what you detect. You become the one who sees, the one who prays, the one who warns. And without noticing, your relationship with God turns into a duty, not a delight.
Isn't the relationship of God with a duty? Like the whole thing is about what you owe to God, being thankful to God, doing service for God, doing as God says, or you will be smoted, smitten, zapped, whatever the fuck the word is for that. Like that's the whole thing. Do as I say or die, and also burn forever. Maybe it's delightful to not burn forever, by way of comparison at least, but yeah, it kind of is a job. It kind of is a chore. That's the whole point of it.
Your calling becomes a burden, not communion. God never intended discernment
Andrew says he said duty.
to replace intimacy. The purpose of seeing is not to make you a guardian of fear, but a bearer of light. Because seeing without remembering who you are makes you a tired watchman. But seeing from your identity in Christ makes you a child filled with peace.
Oh, be a child and have peace or something. Be likened unto a child and suffer no obligations, only go play. The adults are talking. Go play. Oh, goodness. Alrighty, folks. We're near the end of the video. We almost got one finished. You get the general idea. And we're just about out of time for this time. I do want to take a second and thank everybody who sent super chats, because those really, really do help, and I very much appreciate them. So Jester sent us $5 saying, and if you are seeing and hearing things, grab a nice cool glass of filtered water and schedule an appointment with your doctor ASAP. Good news, you can get filtered water from Epic Water Filters. Enter code EMBER15 at checkout for 15% off. And all the I was so tempted to play the ad again, but yeah. Ferd sends us a $2 and says, if I ever say it's canon, I mean for redheads. And I agree. Redheads should have cannons. I mean, Second Amendment says people deserve arms. Redheads deserve fucking cannons. I know that's not what you meant. I'm a little silly sometimes. You may have noticed. And Miranda sends us $10 and says, give Ember money. Thank you. Both for the marching orders and for the $10. I appreciate both things. And that's good advice. Be sure to join us tomorrow for additional shenanigans where you can also send Ember money, which definitely helps and improves my mood for sure. Tomorrow we're talking orgasms. Apparently, that's what Past Ember scheduled for us. Orgasms and organisms. Oh my. So make sure you're subscribed, you've got the bell rung, and if you want your bell rung, oh my, we don't have time for that. We don't have time for romance, as Chris would say. Oh goodness. Andrew says my mom was a redhead. See, Ginger should have cannons. That's right. Thank you all so much for joining. As always, as I often say, the reason I do lives is because of you folks. Y'all are delightful. I love the interaction. I love seeing you here. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you did, be sure to at least like, but maybe push some of the other buttons. I appreciate it. And as always, remember, you don't have to pretend you have a magic gift of vision given by your also invisible friend that nobody else can see and yada, yada, yada. You can just be a fucking human being, a decent human being, a kind human being, because you are better than religion. See you later. Thanks to all our patrons and top-level members for October. Miranda, Karen Butcher, Jessica the Transmetal Alchemist, Robin Webster, Maya Adkisson, Jimmy Tux, Ian Chen, Kalasia, Lilith, The Barely Bearable Atheist, Eric Wander, Jason Jacoby, Godless Engineer, Jester, Lil of All Trades, Deviant Outcast, and Kelly King, the Detroit Atheist Queen. And you can add your name here next month by signing up at patreon.com/betterthanember, or by joining Emberships here on YouTube at the Cinder level, which includes all the custom emojis, tons of member-exclusive content, member-only live streams, and a bunch of other stuff. I deeply appreciate all the supporters who keep this channel going. Thank you all so much. Because of you, we're building a wonderful community that I'm very proud of.
Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes.
Deviant Outcast seems to think she can slip a super chat past me. Now, people have tried before. I am much sneakier. Deviant sends 20 sex, which is, of course, a very excellent currency, and says,